Hey, second grade art friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. This week we are going to finally finish up our winter bird landscape. And so what you're going to need is your finished background that you created a couple weeks ago. And the second thing you're going to need is your bird drawing that you did even longer, even a couple more weeks before that. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to grab, you're going to need a pair of scissors and a glue stick to get started. So why don't you go ahead and grab those things and we'll get started. All right, so the first thing we need to do is to cut out our bird. And what I typically like to do is what you can kind of do is you can bubble around your bird, which kind of means just cutting around the outside part of your bird, getting rid of any excess paper so that you have a smaller piece of paper to work with. I find that this works well. And if you have little legs that are a little bit more delicate, we'll kind of bubble around those and get to those at the end of our cutting. So what I'm doing is I'm holding my scissors facing forward, and I'm using my the hand that I'm not using with the scissors, depending on if I'm left or right-handed. I'm using the other hand to hold the paper and to turn it. So see how the scissors are not going anywhere, but I'm using, and the paper is at the back of the scissors, and I'm just using my other hand to kind of turn it. And then as I go, I'm just making little chomps with the scissors, and then I'm turning my paper, and there, that piece is gone. Then I'm gonna kind of go around this corner. So notice I'm turning my paper, my scissors haven't gone anywhere. And then I'm making my cuts. And then I'm gonna go up the back of my bird. See, I'm turning. I'm gonna turn and snip. And then I just have this last little part down here. So I'm going to kind of come around the beak. And I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to stop right here by this leg. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up this side and then just gently and then cut in there like that. And see how I was able to get inside that corner there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the feet, where I'm going to cut in there, and then I'm going to cut in there really carefully. So I'm cutting in there like that, and then I'm turning it and just cutting a little bit. Okay. And then this is a little trickier. I'm going to cut in there. And then just gonna give a little chomp and kind of pull that piece of paper out. Now, worst case scenario, if you happen to accidentally cut your bird's foot off, and I'm gonna do that so that you can see what happens. I cut the bird's foot off. No need to get excited. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish cutting it out. So I'm going to make a little cut in there, and then just a tiny little cut right here. And pull that piece of paper out like that, and then I'm gonna go snip and snip. Okay, so here's my leg that I accidentally cut off, and I'm not gonna worry about it right this very second. So here's my bird. So now here's the fun thing about figuring out where to put your bird. You will have created all your different branches, and the nice thing is, depending on how many branches you have, you can decide where you want to put your bird. So you could put your bird so that your bird is kind of coming off the paper. That is okay. Or you might want to nestle your bird closer down to more onto your landscape. It's totally up to you. You also want to decide what you want to show. So like I have this moon glowing in the background, so I kind of want that to show. I could also turn my bird's body this way if it was standing on this branch down here. So it just depends on kind of where you want your bird. If I position my bird further back on this branch, the tail's coming off the edge of my paper, but I kind of like that. So that's okay too. Or you may say, you know what, I want my whole bird to fit onto the paper. So you would move it over like this. So kind of play around with it, decide where you want your bird to be perching, on which branch. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to glue my bird down, but then once I glue the bird down, then the second foot that accidentally got cut off, I will just glue it on next to where it goes, and you'll never even be able to tell that it was cut off. Okay? So once you decide where you want your bird, you're just going to turn it over. And what happens a lot of times when people glue things down is they just take their glue stick and they put a little dot of glue right here, and then they think, okay, I'm just gonna slap my bird down. But what happens is if I just do that, there's a lot of loose pieces of my bird. Won't be glued down the head, and so it might kind of tend to fall off eventually, or parts may get bent up because they're not glued down. So what I like to do is take my glue stick, and I want to outline with my glue stick. I'm going to go around the whole outside of the body of my bird. Okay, and my bird's not too big, so then I'm going to then fill in the body, and then I'm going to give a little swipe on that leg there. Then when I go to glue my bird on, it's going to be really nice and sticky, and so I'm going to be able to massage it down really nicely to my background. And then I'm going to take my other leg, and now here, and I'm also realizing I'm going to need to angle the body a little bit further down so that this leg is not floating in thin air. So I just changed the angle of my bird a little bit. And when it's still not dry, you can kind of pick it up and move it around a little bit. All right, so then I'm going to just turn this leg that I happened to accidentally cut off. I'm going to put some glue on the back of it. And then I'm going to find that little spot where it was. And attach. And there you have it. Okay? So you might say, well, Mrs. Herbay, that did not take very long, and that was pretty easy. And once you're finished, you can take a picture with your iPad and upload it to share it with me. But if you would like something else to do with the remainder of our art time, what you can do is I sent home this reindeer drawing. It can actually be more of just even a deer, a male deer with antlers. And what we can do is if you guys are familiar with, Mrs. Herbay, last year, I know I created like a winter owl, and we said fill the owl with pattern for friends who finished projects early. So what you can do is we can take this reindeer and we can fill it with pattern. And so what you can do is you can divide up some of the areas of the reindeer, and you can think about some patterns or lines that you want to create. So for example, I could draw here. I'm going to close up this antler right here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw curved lines in this part. And then I'll put some curves over here. And then until I get all the way to the bottom. So there's one antler that has some fun pattern, and then I might kind of close that one off. And then on this one, maybe I'm going to put some swirls. And they can be smaller and bigger. Yeah, we can keep going further up until I reach the top here. All right, and then maybe so like for part of the face, maybe I'm going to draw a line here, and then maybe I want to fill this part of the reindeer's head with this part. I'm going to put some zigzags. Okay, and then maybe I'm going to come down, and then this part, let's see, let me think about what type of pattern I might want to do here. Maybe I want to do, I'm going to do some diagonal lines this way. And then I'll do some diagonal lines the other way. And then maybe I'm going to, and so you can just have fun drawing all kinds of different patterns and lines. You can even, if you would like to, we have this nice winter scarf, and maybe you want to divide it up into sections. Maybe I'm going to put like a snowflake there. Maybe I want to do some wavy lines. Maybe I want to do some vertical lines. So it's totally up to you how you would like to fill your reindeer with pattern. And also, What you can also do is, if you would like to, you can also draw a background. So maybe you want to add a line going across the back, and then maybe you want to add some other details too. So that's something fun that you can do as well. So I hope you have fun with this. This is just like a little extra add-on that you can do if you're able to finish your bird and put it on its background fairly quickly. So can't wait to catch up and see how you guys are and how your winter break was. And I'll talk to you soon.